With King's X, who Q107 present tonight at RPM, and of course Andy Kern and Soho 69 opening that show, or should I just say Soho 69 opening that show. Andy Kern's still in the band, but hey, his name, see ya, Andy. Just Soho 69. But King's X will chat with us in a moment, and here is an excellent track from an album called Gretchen Goes to Nebraska. This song is entitled Over My Head on Q107. Here is King's X on the Rock Report, Q107, Toronto's best rock, and they're playing RPM tonight. And earlier on this week, actually yesterday, Steve had the chance to talk to Jerry Gaskill and lead singer from the band and bass player Doug Pinnick.
Doug Pinnick, correct, Joe. We talked about a whole bunch of stuff. Interesting guys and an interesting background. This is their fifth album, Dogman, the new one. We're going to play something from that in just a couple of minutes. But these guys have been around for a while, based out of Houston, Texas. And one of those bands, I think, that had a big cult following. A lot of musicians are really into the band. A lot of people expected them to break in a big way. It hasn't happened yet. One of the things we're going to talk about here is their new management. Canadian Connection, Ray Daniels of Rush fame, is now taking care of things for them, the new manager of the band. So we began by talking about that and how that came to be.
Well basically, our former manager decided he was going to leave, you know, as time went on, and we needed a new manager. We needed new management.
We had a few people in mind, and Ray came into the picture, and Ray seemed to be the one. It just was right, you know, from the day we met him. Yeah. We talked about it, and we just felt like Ray's the guy. He just seemed to see eye to eye with the way we felt about everything. Plus, he's worked with the band, you know, from day one, Rush, and they're another one of those bands that are sort of the musician band, and they've never had really the big hits and anything like that. And we felt that he would understand us better than some of these people who want that one-hit wonder, you know.
Right, you guys aren't a singles band, and neither is Rush. No. So there's maybe a mentality or a strategy there that you guys could benefit from.
Yeah, that's what we felt, and he felt that too.
And so far, so good.
Yeah,
it's working out. Now, without giving away any secrets, what's kind of the plan? How do you let people that don't know about King's X find out about the band?
Well, on our side of the fence, we just have to tour. You know, and we have to leave it up to the media and the record company and management and all that to do the other side, to get people to know that word King's X, you know. But for our part is we just got to tour and play and show these people that, you know, or at least play music to let them decide whether they like us or not, you know. But we have to give them the opportunity, and I don't think people had the opportunity in the past 4 records, really, to get to hear our music and to decide on their own. And hopefully on this record, they'll get that chance.
Right. Now, there's another side to the band that I just want to touch on, because listening to the lyrics, there's definitely a spiritual side to this band. And now, Doug, is that your personal kind of vision there?
No, actually, it's just the spiritual side is just another side of us. We're human beings, and we believe in many different things and many different ways about life in general, and I think our music more reflects on our everyday life and what we go through and how we feel about it, rather than a real honing on a spiritual thing, which seems the media has done, and it's sort of been a hindrance to us, because that is just a part of our music, you know. And
some people have tagged you guys as Christian.
Right, we've been
rockers.
tagged, and it makes me very, very angry, because it's not true, you know. And the media can ruin you, you know, with making up things. Because when a band comes out and you can't pigeonhole it, then you find something to exploit, you know. And that was the thing that we were exploited. It seems like now the thing is, since we haven't sold, you know, this is our 5th record and we haven't broken humongously, now the whole thrust is, why hasn't King's X made it, and how do you feel about it? And all of a sudden now it seems like what I'm hearing in the media is we're all frustrated or upset because we're not selling records or something, you know. And it seems that they still find those little holes to put us in, and people have no clue who King's X really is, you know.
Do you, this might sound like an odd thing, but do you in some way regret incorporating some of the spiritual Christian elements into the music and then having to live with the consequences?
No, I don't think I regret that as much as I regret maybe talking so much about it in the media when people asked. If I had just said, that's just my personal belief, let's move on, let's talk about rock and roll, it might have helped, but I'm so naive, and I'm more than willing to talk about anything, and as a result of it, people take what they want and turn it into, the topic of the interview instead of what else was said.
Right. Now, conversely, did you find over the years that you had people coming to see King's X who were expecting a Christian show or something?
There were people, I think, that did expect that, and either they were disappointed or they were enlightened, one or the other,
Yeah. Maybe converted them in a way to what you do,
Yeah, we just want people to be converted to the King's X thing, just like you would be converted to what, Soundgarden or Guns N' Roses or whatever,
Well, it's a rockin' thing for sure, but I mean, I guess it's a sign of maybe the shallowness of the rock and roll business, if you like, that musicians come along and maybe have that as a part of them, like an aspect of them, that they believe in God or whatever, and all of a sudden that becomes the focus. And also for some other people, it's like, well, if they're into that, they can't be rock and roll.
Right, and that's been a hindrance too.
And that's a pretty strange attitude to have. But I guess it flies in the face of this whole media thing too, that rock and roll is bad, it's sex, drugs, and it's not about God, right?
That's God too.
Yeah, that is true.
Sex, drugs, rock and roll, it's all God.
It's all part of this life, that we live. We don't separate ourselves from one thing or the other, This is all part of life.
Right.
Everything, the good and the bad, good and evil, whatever,
Q107.
As I wondered.
There is King's X on Q107, and an excellent song called Fool You from their new record, which is entitled Dogman. And you can check out King's X tonight at RPM. Soho 69 are opening up, so get down there early to check out Andy Curran and the boys. And King's X, definitely a band worth seeing. And they have an excellent record, as I've been saying. Dogman is a great record. Good time to see these guys live and in concert at RPM. And Steve and I, of course, will be at Casablanca along with Brian Fukuda. Twisted Tuesdays. The tradition continues at 1199 Kennedy Road.